It's Tuesday, and that means it's waiver time on fantasyvictory.com. Looking for a running back, maybe C.J. Anderson in Denver.
Yeah, C.J. Anderson's the big name of this week's crop of free agents. Ronnie Hillman left last week's game with a foot injury, and he's going to miss 2 to 3 weeks. That means the starting job is open, and C.J. Anderson and Monty Ball look like they're going to be the timeshare here. Monty Ball's coming off the groin injury, so not sure how healthy he's going to be. And Anderson was great in relief last week. He ran for 7 yards a carry, put up 163 yards, but that doesn't necessarily mean he'll be the starter or that he'll get most of the carries when Ball comes back. But I do give him the nod over Ball. Just, again, he's healthier and he's probably a better pass blocker. So I think in free agency, in blind bidding, I think you can bid up to 20% if you need Anderson over the next 3 or 4 weeks between now and when Hillman gets back healthy, and then the waters get even muddier.
All right, if you downloaded the fantasyvictory.com draft cheat sheet, you knew that Charch was higher on Theo Riddick than anyone this preseason as a real legit sleeper.
Yeah.
He's looking pretty good, and he's a guy to pick up right now.
I think he is a guy to pick up, and he probably was a couple of weeks ago, but he's still available in most leagues. And at this point, I think we can safely say Theo Riddick is the Lions' best pass-catching back, and that's saying something because Joique Bell and Reggie Bush are both good pass-catching backs, and Riddick has now scored in 3 straight weeks, and while Reggie Bush certainly eats into his usage some now that Bush is back and healthy, they're still finding ways to keep Riddick on the field and, in the case of last week, in the end zone. So going forward, I think you're going to see Riddick as a plausible PPR flex kind of guy and somebody who stays relevant in this offense. So I think you can go out and get him. This week I would bid roughly in the 7 to 10% range to go get him.
All right, Charch told you to pick up Kyle Rudolph as a sneaky waiver claim on the bye last week.
Yeah.
Getting back to action against the Bears.
Looks like he's going to go, and right now everybody against the Bears looks like a good start. And obviously, Kyle Rudolph will cost you more this week if you waited a week, because the Vikings are now past their bye, and Rudolph is now scheduled to play on Sunday. There are several reasons for optimism here. First, he's a pretty good tight end. I mean, second, Teddy Bridgewater has 0 deep ball ability and accuracy. His sweet spot is that 10 to 15 yard downfield range, and that is primo tight end territory. And then third, Rudolph's enters a game in which Teddy just threw to Rudolph's backups, Cole Ford and Rhett Ellison, copiously. They combined for 6 catches and 99 yards. So it really looks like Teddy's very comfortable throwing 2 tight ends. So there's a lot of reasons to like Kyle Rudolph right now. I think you can bid somewhere in the 6 to 8, maybe even 10% range if you're desperate for a tight end.
If Kyle Rudolph's gone, then you maybe look to the Oakland Raiders as a bright spot in the black hole.
Yeah, Michael Rivera. In 3 weeks, Michael Rivera's gone from obscurity to fantasy relevancy. In those 3 games, he's been targeted a whopping 9, 11, and 8 times. He has caught 7, 8, and 6 of those passes respectively, and he has scored in each of those 3 games. So if nothing else, you can count on the Raiders being behind in almost all of their games, and Derek Carr is going to throw a lot of passes because they're always playing from behind. So you won't have to pay a lot, I don't think, for Rivera, but free agency blind bidding recommendation is in the 4 to 5% range.
If you follow Charch on Twitter at Paul Charchian, you know that this is a very sneaky pickup for the playoff push, Zach Mettenberger.
Mettenberger's a nice sort of emergency playoff guy. If something were to happen to your number 1 quarterback and you're in a pinch and you need to start somebody in the playoffs, I think Zach Mettenberger might be your guy. He's been just okay in his starts so far, holds the ball too long, is not the most accurate passer, but he's got the big arm, and I'm hoping that Ken Whisenhunt will work his quarterback magic with Mettenberger soon, because no team faces an easier schedule against the pass than Tennessee. There is not a single stopper left on the schedule the entire rest of the year. Most of the remaining games are highly favorable. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Houston, the Giants, the Jets, Jacksonville, Indy. If he improves even a little between now and his juicy playoff run, I think Mettenberger is going to power you through the playoffs potentially if you find yourself in a bind. He's a guy that won't necessarily hurt you if your starter goes down. So you can get Mettenberger almost for free right now. You can bid 1, 2, 3% and probably get him.
That's 5 from Paul Charchian to target on waivers this week. There is a list of 9 to add this week at fantasyvictory.com, including a super deep running back and a top 5 kicker that no one really has.
Yeah, how about that?